Hello everybody, this is DashingWarrior here back with some more CSGO gameplay, and I have a new topic to talk about over this. So let's get right into it. So the topic is expectations, right? If you've seen Game of Thrones, or really even The Last of Us, right? You know that these creators love to talk about subverting expectations, and generally speaking, surprising your audience with some new take on the story or just changing things up a little to keep things fresh can be a good thing, you know? Keeps people interested in the show and games and can just generally bring a new take to the whole thing. But I think that generally speaking, these creators mix up expectations with, I guess, destruction of what the actual creator property was in the first place. Let's take Halo for example. So, Halo 1 through 3 was a pure sandbox game for the most part, right? In Halo 2, there was like button combos, but generally speaking, in Halo, you would find weapons on the map, find power ups on the map like overshield and invisibility, and everyone started off the same. Everyone either started off with a BR or a AR, and I'm mainly just speaking from the Master Chief Collection, but from what I've seen, that's how it was. But then we get over to Reach, where they introduced the ability to, well, pick different abilities off your spawn. If you wanted invisibility, you didn't have to fight over it. You could just spawn in with it. If you want to overshield, which would be armor lock in a sense. You could just spawn in with that. But I mean, that wasn't what Halo was, and generally speaking, Reach split up the community, and it hasn't really recovered since. I mean, if you want to progress even forward, Halo 4 would allow people to pick what weapons they actually spawn in at the beginning of the game by creating their own loadouts. Then we get over to Halo 5, right? Which has introduced all these different movement options where you can slide, clamber, sprint, you can thruster pack your way out of shots and all this. And this basically made vehicles, for the most part, pointless. I mean, the tank is so powerful, and any vehicle that can fly, right, is obviously going to give a pretty big advantage. But at the exact same time, right, you're making yourself a bigger target, and generally speaking, you won't be able to maneuver out the way of enemies as well as if you were just on the ground, you know? And with this, it basically messed up the flow of what Halo is supposed to be, which is a predictable game. That's why people like it, you know? Or at least that's why I like it. And the reason why Halo's a predictable game, right, is because you know everyone's going to start off with the same weapon, same ability. You know, everyone's going to be able to get to any given point of the map at the same speed as you just walking. There isn't this sprint off the start or let's do a dash to get to this point in the map faster or any of that, you know? I mean, heck, in Halo 2, the only reason why button combos was a thing was because it was like glitched and all that. I mean, I'm not knocking button combos all that much because, I mean, at the very least, you know, that dedication to master that, I guess you can say, finesse with the gun is definitely impressive. But it definitely isn't a part of the sandbox type mentality that Halo had. Now let's look at, say, The Last of Us 2, right? We expected to be playing with Joel and Ellie through a pretty big portion of the game, but the advertising just straight up lied about what was going to happen in it. You know, I mean, If any of you guys haven't seen any videos on it, I mean, I guess I'll put a spoiler warning right here. But Joe dies in basically the first hour of the game. And then another spoiler warning, you play as Abby for like 10 hours later. But, people expected to be playing with Joel at least halfway through the game, because the advertising that was actually there. But that's not what happened. And then at the end of the game, right, to subvert expectations just one more time, you don't even, by the way, spoiler warning, you don't even get to actually kill Abby. She gets away on her boat with Lev and happy ever after, I guess. Now let's look at a game that followed expectations, right, of how the story was going to happen. Ghost of Tsushima. Like, people are really liking Ghost of Tsushima, but you can tell where it's going to go at the very beginning of the game. You know what's going to happen. But still, it's more popular than Last of Us 2. Okay, this will be the final example, right? Game of Thrones Season 8. Like, all the expectations was shattered with that, right? How they handled the Ice King, how they handled Daenerys Targaryen, all of that. Just just all that build up over 7 seasons thrown out the window and to subvert expectations. Now, man, I remember watching that and just being like, wow, this is so dumb. I still can't believe what they did in that show. Like, man, that was a whole new level of subversion right there. And honestly, if they wanted to do these story beats in these different creative products, they could have done them in an actually well thought way. In Halo, if they wanted to change the way, I guess, gameplay worked by adding sprint in, they could have just made it a power up like overshields or invisibility, not give it to the player inherently, right? In The Last of Us 2, if they really wanted to kill off Joel, do it in a way that makes sense to his character. Don't have him be killed because Tommy or him gives away information to complete strangers. Like, come on, man. He's not gonna do that in The Last of Us 1. I don't care what reason you're gonna give unless you actually show him changing to that extent. It isn't gonna make sense, and it's just gonna be bad writing. Uh, and in Game of Thrones, if you wanted Daenerys Targaryen to go crazy at the very end of the show, you should have literally killed off every single person she actually liked, right? Not just like one person, but literally everyone. Heck, you could even throw in Jon Snow in there if you really wanted to push it. But still, you have to give a proper reason for this type of stuff and implement it in a way that actually makes sense. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Wanted to do something not as depressing as the last video. So yeah, here it is. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, see you guys then.